rewrite and I rewrite, and then I show it to someone I trust for feedback. It could be my editor, it could be my agent, or it could be my wife. So he gives it to somebody he trusts to look at his work that he's working on. It's not done yet, but during the time that he's working, he gives it to somebody he trusts and asks them, what do you think about this? And then his editor or his agent or his wife says, let me see. And then they work on this piece together. Knock your hands down. All right, now, we had all these different ideas that you guys came up with when we can use feedback, and you're never gonna believe it, but I came up with one more, and Christopher, you were on my brain when I came up with it. Imagine that. Okay, so you guys said during our writing time, you can always get up and talk to a friend, ask them for feedback. You could ask them things like, do you like my story? You could ask them, how do you spell? You could ask them, can you please help me? You can ask them, can you help me with this story? How does this sound? Can you help me draw this? Can I read you my finished book? I have writer's block. Do you have any ideas for me? Or can you show me how? And we hope that our friend always says, sure, I'd love to help. Right? All right. Now, Christopher, this is when I was thinking of for you. I was thinking about feedback last night, and sometimes you and your friend experienced the same thing. Now think about this. Ready, Chris? Last year after school, Christopher, what did you and I always play when we were waiting for that late bus to come? Do you remember?
Stand on a leg.
Stand on one leg. Stand up, Christopher. Christopher and I would stand outside waiting for the bus duty, and we'd say, ready, set, go. And we would see who could stand on their leg the longest. Have a seat, Christopher. That's a story that either I could write or Chris could write, because we were both there, right? That's called a narrative story because it's from our real lives. Anyways, if I was writing this story about me and Chris and the standing on one leg competition, if I was writing that story and I got halfway through, I could go and ask, you ready? Okay, because we can't make noises during this, it's way too important. If I was writing this story about the one leg competition that Chris and I had, and I got halfway through my story, if I wanted to go and talk to Chris about it, he would be the perfect person to talk to because it happened to him too. Get it? Would it make sense for me to go and ask Owen for feedback on my standing on one leg competition story?
No.
Why not? Yeah, he didn't do it. He wasn't there. He has no idea. But the perfect person to ask would be Christopher. So, if I was writing my story, I could ask Christopher, did I leave anything out? Christopher, did I leave anything out of my story? Did I forget anything? And then Christopher would be able to give me that feedback for things I needed to put in my story that I might have forgotten, especially since it happened last school year. I'm telling you this because a lot of you are writing recess stories. So if you're playing at recess with Ella and you're talking about the game you played with Ella, who would be the perfect person to ask for feedback?
Ella.
Ella, yeah. Or if you were playing at Ryan's house last night after school and you're writing that story, that narrative story, well, for goodness sake, I would ask Ryan, Ryan, what was that your mom brought us outside for a snack? I can't remember. So you could say, hey, yeah, Ryan, tell me what mom brought outside for a snack. Did mom feed you last night for a snack? No, no. So I want you to keep that in mind. When you are in search of feedback from somebody, make smart choices. I am not gonna waste my writing time with my story about the one leg competition, standing on one leg competition, talking to anybody else about that book except Christopher. Because Christopher can give me the answers I need, and I can get right back into my story to work. Okay? Just so you know. All right, so for Miss Jenkins' kids, my kids, when we